Alright, that was a little haphazard introduction to the Nocturna number 3 by Franz Liszt, better known as the Liebestraum. And I just wanted to use that for today's example as as a kind of proof as to why harmonic motion of the roots of your chords might matter in context of a real composition. Okay, so we're just going to break this piece down just a little bit. And to start, we're going to look at the harmonic progression of the first 3 measures. So I'm going to signify with different colors here. With the green, we're going to highlight the root of the measure. So here, in this measure 1, we have clearly what is an A flat major chord. So we have A flat, okay. And the next measure, it's a little tricky, but if we take all these notes into consideration, and maybe even the help of this chord program here, although we shouldn't need it, we see that the G is actually not the root of the chord, but it's a displacement of the G of the 5th of a C7 chord. So in the second measure, we have not a G chord, but a C dominant 7 chord. And so the root is actually the C note here. Yes, and then moving on, our next chord, we have these notes, which is a particular voicing, the A displaced up an octave of an F7 chord, right? So here we have F as the root, so we have F dominant 7, and then finally just these last 2 chords. We look here. This one's a little trickier to understand. We bring these notes closer together and then include this F in the chord. We get a chord all stacked in thirds all the way up to not just the 7, but even the 9th of the chord. So this is what would be called a B dominant 9 chord. And so let's write that down. Or sorry, B flat dominant 9. B flat. You could just shorthand say 9. And then finally, taking most of these notes, although some of them are quite clearly non-chord tones in a way. Although in a way you could argue it's some type of suspension. But this moment right here, I would most likely consider it an E flat 7, and then if we build up our extensions through the 9, through the 11, to the 13th, we find the C, this colorful, this colorful C here is the 13th of the chord. And so this would be let's go smaller here, an E flat 13th chord, although there's no 11 and well, there's kind of a 9 in the left, passing through the left hand, and kind of 11th in passing as well, which is quite brilliant. And then still the 13, or the 6 in this position. The 6 resolves to the 5 here, and then here we just have a more pure, although still dissonant, E flat 7 chord. Okay, so how does this help us understand why chord harmonic motion is important? Well, if we analyze the motion of the bass here, we see that our first motion is A flat to C, which is an ascending third. A flat, B flat, C. Right, we have a major third. And then starting from here on the C and ending all the way back to what we didn't look at, but what is an A flat chord, we have C to F, and then we have F to B flat, and then we have B flat to E flat, then we have E flat to A flat. And this is an up 4, down 5, up 4, down 5. So this is just a circle of, and this is important, descending fifths, or if you prefer, ascending 4, right? Same thing, right? And so, without a doubt, Franz Liszt conceived of this piece to some degree, if not fully, harmonically. It was his kind of a structure, if you will, the frame of the house, if you will, before he puts this flowing decoration. But all the flowiness is just through these chordal structures, and they move with a particular logic through the circle of fifths. This piece demonstrates that point really well, but then also, and I think this is really a really cool moment of this piece, if we can just find it for just a moment. Yes, later on in the piece here, which I didn't play for you, we get a really important sequence in the Romantic era. In this moment, we get this thing where it's like, and so on. But this motion here essentially amounts to a bunch of arpeggios and some melodic decoration on so we have a C chord, pure C major, and then here we have an F minor chord, and then we're back to C, and then we get A minor, and then we get E major, E triangle meaning E major. And what this motion essentially is we have a descending fourth from F to C, and then it descends by third, and then it descends by fourth. So if Liszt were to continue this pattern, this sequence, if you will, of down, let's see, I suppose I would really start it with a down 3, down 3, down 4, and just kind of put that on repeat. We have this. And then we have E down a third to C sharp, down a fourth to A flat, and then A flat, down a third to F, down a fourth to C. So third, fourth, third, fourth, third, fourth. And then the only embellishment Franz Liszt gives it is when we go down a third from C to A, he adds the sixth, what the French call just the added sixth chord. And that helps it kind of feel truly like it resolves to a E major chord. And Jean-Philippe Rameau, in his treatise on harmony, calls that an irregular cadence, that added sixth note. And then he can do it again on E descends a third to C sharp minor. We can add the sixth, right? Then A flat to F minor, F minor, add the sixth, back home, and you just decorate it. Yeah, so there you have it. Franz Liszt in his famous Liebestraum is using two common sequential harmonic motions. In a more climactic moment, the down 3, down 4, although you just uses it once, he doesn't beat it to death. Down 3, down 4, and then in the beginning, in the more intimate opening here, we have the extremely common circle of descending fifths, although they're all dominants, so it's kind of hidden that way, also hidden with this 9th chord and this 13th. So I hope you find that justification enough to really work hard and study deeply these harmonic motions. I mean, if Franz Liszt is using them in his greatest pieces, I think it's worthy of our study. Thank you. Enjoy. Happy practicing to you.